Remember, the story has been for much of the last 6 months, you either cut price or you cut volume, and they've decided they're not cutting price. 12 trucks are crashing in value right now. And I mean crashing, we are talking $20,000 gone. Not over 5 years, not slowly fast. Some of these trucks lost that much in under 6 months. The Ford F-150, the Chevy Silverado, the Ram 1500, the best-selling, most trusted trucks in America, sitting on lots right now with nobody wanting them. Dealers are slashing prices by 8, 10, sometimes $20,000 just to move them off the lot. And here is the part that should scare you. Somewhere out there, someone bought that exact truck just 6 months ago, paid full price, drove it home, feeling great. And right now, that truck is worth tens of thousands less than what they owe on it. They did not see it coming. The salesman did not warn them. The bank did not care. So the question is your truck on this list? The truck market is broken right now. And most people have no idea how bad it actually is until they walk into a dealership and get hit with a number they were not expecting. Here is how this happened. 5 years ago, a fully loaded pickup truck cost somewhere around $40,000 to $45,000. That was already a lot of money. Then the pandemic hit, supply chains collapsed, inventory dried up, and manufacturers realized something dangerous: people would pay almost anything to get a truck because there was nothing else on the lot. So they raised the prices. Then they raised them again. By the time the dust settled, the same truck that cost $45,000 was suddenly selling for $65,000, $70,000, sometimes $75,000, a $20,000 to $30,000 increase in just a few years, and buyers kept signing because the monthly payment was the only number anyone was focused on. Now the inventory is back, lots are stacked, and the manufacturers have a serious problem on their hands. Nobody is buying trucks at these prices anymore. So to move the metal, they started cutting $8,000 off, $10,000 off. Some Ram lots are showing discounts of $20,000 on certain models. Ford is throwing 0% financing at buyers just to get them through the door, and that is exactly where the collapse starts. The moment a manufacturer drops the price of a new truck by $10,000, every used version of that same truck loses value instantly, not gradually, instantly. Because why would anyone pay $50,000 for a used truck with 40,000 miles on it, when a brand new one with 0 miles is sitting right next to it for almost the same price? The used truck market for pickups is getting crushed by the discounts happening on the new side, and the people feeling it hardest are the ones who bought at the peak. Think about this: you bought a truck 18 months ago. You got a $3,000 discount and felt good about the deal. Today, that same truck is being sold brand new with a $9,000 discount. Before you even factor in depreciation, you overpaid by $6,000, then add 10 to 15% depreciation the moment you drove it off the lot. Then add the fact that a dealer will give you $5,000 to $10,000 less than private party value on your trade. The numbers stack up fast, and none of them are moving in your direction. This is not bad luck. This is the predictable result of a market that got drunk on inflated prices and is now dealing with the hangover, and 12 trucks are taking the hardest hit. Let's start with the biggest offender. The one truck that sold more units than almost everything else on the road and climbed higher in price than almost anything else on the lot, the Ford F-150, for over 40 consecutive years. The F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle in America. That sounds like a badge of honor. What it actually means right now is that more people are sitting underwater on this truck than any other vehicle on the market. Because Ford did not just raise prices a little during the pandemic era. They raised them a lot. We are talking $15,000 to $30,000, above where F-150 prices were just 5 years ago. A truck that used to sell for the mid-40s was suddenly sitting on lots at $65,000, $70,000, sometimes over $80,000 on the higher trims, and buyers kept signing because the monthly payment felt manageable, and the salesman was smiling and the approval came fast. Now Ford is offering $8,000, $9,000 off on models like the Tremor just to move inventory. Some lots are pairing that with percent financing deals to pull buyers even harder toward the new trucks. And that combination is quietly destroying the value of every used F-150 sitting on a lot right now. Here's the math that nobody at the dealership is going to walk you through. Say you bought an F-150 Tremor 6 months ago. You got a $3,000 discount and thought you did. All right, today, Ford is offering nearly $9,000 off that same truck. Before depreciation, before mileage, before anything. You are already $6,000 behind. Now add 10 to 15% depreciation the moment you drove it off the lot. Now add the fact that if you walk into that dealership today to trade it in, they are going to offer you $5,000 to $10,000 less than what you could get selling it privately. Every one of those numbers is working against you at the same time, and the used market is not offering any escape either. Right now, used F-150s are sitting on lots priced only about $5,000 below brand new ones, when the gap between a new truck with 0 miles and a used truck with 30,000 miles is only $5,000. Most buyers are going to take the new one, which means the used trucks just sit. And sitting inventory means dealers get more desperate, and more desperate dealers mean lower offers on your trade. Ford built the most popular truck in America. And right now, that popularity is not protecting the people who bought at the top. It is making their situation worse. Different badge, same collapse. If you thought the F-150 situation was bad, the Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra are telling almost the exact same story, and in some ways it is actually worse. Silverado manufacturers suggested retail prices climbed all the way up to $72,000, sometimes $73,000 on loaded trims. General Motors convinced itself that the market would hold and kept pushing prices higher. Now the lots are stacked with unsold trucks, and the discounts have started $6,000, $8,000, sometimes $10,000 off, just to move inventory. The math is identical to Ford. If you bought a Silverado at peak pricing and you are walking into a dealership today, expecting a fair trade and offer, you are about to have a very uncomfortable conversation. There is something else happening at Chevy dealerships right now that tells you everything you need to know about where this market stands. Some of them have stopped posting prices on the windows entirely. No hang tags, no sticker discounts, just a scan code that tells you to contact the store for pricing. Think about what that actually means, a dealership so uncomfortable, with the gap between what they are asking and what buyers expect, that they would rather force you inside to talk to a salesman than let you walk the lot and do the math yourself. That is not a sign of a market with confidence. That is a market under pressure, trying to control the conversation. Now walk over to the used side of one of these lots, and the picture gets even more interesting. Right now you can find a used 2024 Silverado Trail Boss with a Duramax diesel engine, leather trim, and around 30,000 miles for just over $50,000. That is a higher trim level than almost anything you would get buying new at a similar price point. The sweet spot for used Silverado value right now is sitting right around 20 to 30,000 miles. That is where the real savings live compared to buying new. Anything under 10,000 miles is not worth it. Those nearly new trucks are priced too close to new to make sense, especially when new ones are being discounted aggressively. Then there is the electric Silverado, a truck that was selling for $80,000 to $90,000. Brand new is now showing up used for around $64,000. Sounds like a deal, until you realize some new electric Silverados are being discounted by $10,000 or more off the lot. Suddenly that used one is not the bargain. It looked like, from the parking lot, GMC Sierra carries every single one of these same problems with a premium badge markup on top, which just means the depreciation hits harder and faster the moment you drive it home. If Ford is the biggest offender by volume, Ram is the biggest offender by percentage. No other truck brand inflated its prices as aggressively over the last 5 years, as Ram did, and now Ram is paying for it in a way that is hitting every single person who bought one of these trucks at the peak directly in the wallet. Ram prices did not just creep up during the pandemic era. They exploded. Models that used to sit in the low 40s climbed into the 60s and beyond. The market absorbed it because inventory was tight and buyers were desperate. And the monthly payment math still technically worked on paper, but the moment inventory came back and buyers had options again, the whole thing started unwinding fast. Ram realized it had a serious problem, and the response was to start cutting prices harder than almost anyone else in the segment. Some Ram lots are showing discounts of up to $20,000 off on certain models. That is not a sale, that is a correction. Here is a real number to put that in perspective. A brand new 2026 Ram Bighorn with the Hemi V8 in 4-wheel drive is sitting on lots right now with a sticker price of $63,800 after discounts. It comes down to $53,810,000 off a brand new truck. That sounds like a great deal until you walk 30 feet to the used section and find a 2019 Ram Bighorn, same V8 4-wheel drive, 63,000 miles, sitting at $29,000. That is $20,000 less than the discounted new one, $20,000. Now you have a decision to make that nobody at the dealership is going to help you think through. Honestly, do you spend $54,000 on a brand new truck with a warranty and the latest features, or do you spend $30,000 on a proven V8 with some miles on it and put that $20,000 difference somewhere? It actually works for you. That is not a trick question, but it is a question that requires you to think past the monthly payment, which is exactly what the dealership does not want you to do. There is another layer to this that is creating confusion in the used Ram market right now. Ram has been transitioning away from the classic Hemi V8 toward the new Hurricane twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine. Buyers shopping used are not always sure which engine they are getting. That uncertainty is softening demand further and pushing values down on both engine generations simultaneously. Ram built the problem by overpricing. Now everyone who bought at the top is living with the consequences. Toyota did not play the same game as Ford, Ram, and Chevy. They did not inflate their prices quite as aggressively. They did not stack their lots with unsold inventory quite as recklessly, and their reputation for reliability has always given them a layer of protection that the domestic brands simply do not have. But here is the thing about a market this broken. It does not matter how good your reputation is. When the trucks around you are getting discounted by $10,000 and $20,000, the pressure finds you anyway. The new 2026 Tundra TRD off-road in the limited trim is sitting on lots right now. With an MSRP of $65,000 after discounts, it comes down to around $58,700. That discount is not as dramatic as what you are seeing at Ford or Ram. About $6,400 off. Toyota is not panicking the way the domestic brands are, but the discount is still there, and that still means the people who bought this same truck a year ago without that discount are already behind. Now walk over to the US Ed side and you find a 2024 Tundra, same trim level, same spec, different color, 21,000 miles on it, sitting at $49,900. That saves you about $9,000 compared to the discounted new one. So the question becomes, what is $9,000 worth to you? Is it worth buying a truck that is 2 years older with 21,000 miles already on it? For some people, that math works. For others, the warranty and 0 miles on a new one is worth the premium. But neither of those is actually the best Toyota truck deal on the lot right now. Not even close. The real bargain is sitting a few rows back, and most buyers walk right past it. The previous generation Tundra, with the 5.7-liter V8, the I-Force engine built between roughly 2017 and 2021. This engine has a reputation that borders on legendary. People call it the million-mile engine without exaggerating much. It is one of the most reliable V8 engines ever put in a production truck. And right now you can find a 2018 model with around 100,000 miles on it for $34,000, 14 to 15,000 less than a used twin-turbo V6 with 20,000 miles. The twin-turbo V6 that replaced it has already had recall issues, serious enough to create hesitation in the used market. Buyers are not fully sure yet how that engine holds up long-term. The old V8 has no such questions. Hanging over it, even Toyota is feeling the pressure. But Toyota is also where the smartest used truck bargains are hiding right now. So far we have talked about the trucks. Everyone knows the F-150, the Silverado, the Ram, the Tundra, the household names that dominate every conversation about the truck market. But there is a second tier of trucks that nobody is talking about, and some of them are getting hit even harder. These are the trucks that got caught in the same inflation wave, rode it all the way to the top, and are now falling with nothing to catch them on the way down. Start with the mid-size segment, the Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon. Both got swept up in the shortage pricing frenzy. Dealers were charging over sticker on trucks that were never worth over sticker to begin with. Now those same trucks are sandwiched in the worst possible position. The discounts on full-size trucks have gotten so aggressive that the price gap between a mid-size and a full-size has nearly disappeared. Why would anyone pay close to $50,000 for a Colorado when a full-size Silverado is sitting right there for a few thousand more with deeper discounts and more truck for the money? The mid-size value proposition has collapsed entirely, and the used values are following. The Ford Maverick tells a similar story with a different twist. During the shortage, people were flipping Mavericks for thousands over sticker because inventory was so tight. Buyers paid those markups and convinced themselves it was worth it. Now the market has corrected back toward MSRP, and everyone who overpaid is sitting on a loss. They did not see coming. The Ford Ranger fell into the same trap. Inflated during the shortage, abandoned by the market the moment full-size discounts made mid-size trucks look like poor value. Then there is the Ram 1500 Classic, the budget version of the Ram lineup that still carries inflated pricing from the peak years, but none of the prestige or demand of the regular Ram. Worst of both worlds: high price, low desire values, dropping fast. Nissan's truck lineup, the Frontier and the Titan, carry an additional problem beyond just market correction. Nissan's broader reliability concerns and the brand's reputation for aggressive subprime lending have created a hesitation in the used market that is pushing values down faster than the segment average. And then there is the Ram TRX, a truck that was selling for $30,000 to $40,000 over MSRP during the frenzy. Buyers paid those premiums without blinking. Now TRX values have corrected back to or below MSRP, and the people who bought it, the peak, are down six figures on paper. Before we get to what you should actually be buying right now, if you want the complete picture of every vehicle draining value in 2026, I put together a free ebook called Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. Depreciation Data Reliability scores the exact models you need to walk away from. Link is in the description. Download it before you walk into any dealership. Here is where the story changes completely. The same market that is destroying the finances of people who bought at the wrong time is creating real opportunities for buyers who know where to look. The collapse in truck values is not just bad news. For the right buyer paying attention right now, it is one of the best windows to buy a truck that has existed in years, but only if you know exactly what you are looking for. The best new truck deal on the market right now is the Ram Bighorn, with the Hemi V8 $10,000 off MSRP. The V8 is back, four-wheel drive, well-equipped, and Ram is motivated to move. Inventory. If you are set on buying new, this is where the math works most in your favor right now. The discount is real, the engine is proven, and the deal is there. If you are ready to negotiate from a position of knowledge instead of emotion, if you want a used full-size truck and you want the closest thing to a guaranteed long-term buy available in this market? The answer is the previous generation. Toyota Tundra with the 5.7-liter V8, a 2018 or 2019 model with high mileage, is not something to be afraid of. That engine was built to run forever, and the used market has not fully priced in just how much life. Those trucks have left $30,000 to $35,000 for a truck that will outlast almost anything else on this list. That is the deal of this market right now. For Silverado buyers, the sweet spot is a used Trail Boss or LTZ with the Duramax diesel engine and somewhere between 20 to 30,000 miles. At that mileage range, you are getting a higher trim level than you could afford buying new at the same price. The value is real, but it disappears fast below 10,000 miles, where used trucks are priced too close to new ones to make sense on. The Ford side. The current 0% financing window on new trucks is genuinely hard to ignore. The used F-150 market is so compressed right now that buying new with zero interest actually beats buying used in many situations. If Ford is your brand, this specific moment may be the time to go new. The private party advantage cannot be ignored, regardless of which truck you are buying or selling. Dealers are consistently offering $5,000 to $10,000 less than what you can get selling privately. That gap is real money. Do not leave it on the table. The monthly payment is still just one number. The discount, the depreciation, the total cost from the day you sign to the day you sell. That is the only math that actually matters, and right now, for the prepared buyer, the truck market is finally starting to work in your favor. Here is the part nobody wants to say out loud: this was not an accident. The truck market did not inflate by $20,000 to $30,000 because of bad luck, or circumstances nobody could control. Manufacturers knew exactly what they were doing. When they raised those MSRPs, dealers knew exactly what they were doing. When they approved buyers on 84-month loans for trucks that were already overpriced. And lenders knew exactly what they were doing when they kept the money flowing, because the monthly payments still looked manageable on paper, even when the total cost never made sense. The people paying for all of that right now are the ones who bought at the peak, the ones who walked on to, a lot got excited, focused on the monthly number, and signed paperwork on a truck that was already worth less than the price on the window. They did not fail. They were not irresponsible. They were sold something that was designed to look affordable right up until the moment it was not. The buyers who win in this market are the ones who slow down. The ones who look past the discount and ask what the same truck sold for 6 months ago. The ones who check the used side before they even glance at the new side. The ones who know that a 0% interest rate on an overpriced truck is still an overpriced truck. Patience and information are worth more right now than any deal a salesman is going to hand you at the door. The value is out there. The deals are real, but they do not live at the sticker price, and they do not come from trusting the person who gets paid when you sign. If you want to make sure you are not walking into a dealership, blind grab the free ebook, avoid these 17 cars in 2026 every vehicle. Losing value, fast depreciation, data reliability, scores, the exact models to avoid link is in the description. And if this video helped you see the market differently, hit that subscribe button, because there is a lot more coming that your wallet needs to hear.